Well, why has this gotten almost no media coverage at all? President Trump, the Trump administration, actively working to basically revolutionize our retirement accounts and how we can invest for our future. For a long time, your 401k was sort of a set it and forget it plan. You hope you pin all of your future dreams on the 401k. We know what a disaster that has been. So President Trump is actively working on really revolutionizing our retirement accounts. We wanted to bring in my old friend, Matt Sorensen. He's the CEO of Directed IRA. He's also an attorney. I've been working with Matt for many years. And I have to say, there's no one out there that understands retirement planning and how to actually invest for your retirement better than Matt. So Matt and I go back many years. So Matt, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Clayton, for being on. And thanks for talking about this, because there's like $44 trillion in U.S. retirement accounts. And what Trump is doing is changing the game big time. Like, this is a huge change of what you can do with your retirement account, how you can grow and build wealth. And so I want to make sure we got on here and talked about this. But I was actually very excited about this and think Trump has like nailed it. Quite honestly, there's still work to be done. But I'm super excited about this because it's going to give people options.
Before we get into what Trump has done, let's talk about where things have sat for so many years. Can you maybe just talk about that landscape? I kind of touched on how much of a failure the 401k has been.
Yeah, I mean, the 401k has got a lot of money in it, but it's had a lot of restrictions on what you can't do with it. And so right now, most people that have a 401k, trillions of dollars that are sitting in 401ks right now, like you can buy a mutual fund, a target date fund, right? And a lot of people, when they've decided what to invest in with their 401k, they filled out a form 10 years ago with their HR department and said, well, I'm 45 and I want to address, moderately aggressive risk-wise, and I want to retire when I'm 65. And they just pick something for you. Like some system or some person at the 401k administration just like picked some investment for you that's some target date fund that's getting pretty poor returns. And what is big shift, there's a number of reasons for this shift, but what's happening right now is not working. And if you go back actually when IRAs first came out, that's another big section of retirement account dollars. It was very interesting in the 70s when retirement accounts came out, is the number one asset, the number one thing people bought as an investment with an IRA when they first came out was CDs, certificates of deposit.
Wow.
And why was that? Well, it's because the companies that set up the accounts at the very beginning when IRAs first came out were banks. And Wall Street was like, this is little dollars for people. We don't want to do that. That's just little dollars, people putting in. They wanted to just deal with the super wealthy people, Well, what turned out is Wall Street realized, oh my gosh, there's all this money going into these people's retirement accounts. We should sell them what we already sell. We should sell them stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. And so then that became the number one asset you could buy with a retirement account. And now we're shifting to the next wave of this, which is public assets, the Wall Street, assets, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds are not performing so great compared to some other alternative assets or the private assets. And so now Trump is like pushing that to give Americans choice for greater returns and outcomes in their retirement account.
Yeah, and for so many, even the creator of the 401k admitted a number of years ago in an interview that the 401k was never meant to stand on its own. It was meant to work in tandem with pension plans, and pension plans have all but dried up and disappeared. They were meant to kind of work in tandem. And now so many Americans, they're like, oh, I don't even plan for retirement. I've got a 401k. Well, I think the average 401k at retirement is like $92,000 or something. I know it fluctuates, but it's roughly that amount.
It's definitely not enough.
You're going to retire with $92,000 for the rest of your life. I mean, it's absurd. So this vehicle has been sold to Americans, and it's really a load of garbage in many ways. I've always said, if your company matches like up to 6%, great. Maybe you do that up to 6%. You get that free money from your company. Great. Yeah. But you must also be planning in other ways. I think most of those matching plans have also disappeared for people. So this thing is on its last leg. So, all right. Sorry for my little tirade there, but I get so frustrated when people are like, yeah, I just got a 401k. I'm all good. I'm all fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think the thing of the 401k and any retirement account, we can even say this for an IRA, is like, right, we've got to go work hard to go make money, whether you got a business, a job, a profession, a trade, whatever it is, you're out there working your butt off, right, trying to accumulate some assets, and you want to go invest it, right? And that's where the 401k or even the IRA was like, well, there's some tax advantages to that investing where you're making more money because I don't have to pay taxes as I'm building that wealth, right? I get a gain on a stock or real estate or crypto or whatever my investment is. Like I get to reinvest that. I don't got to pay the government anything right now. So that account can compound for the long haul. So like the concept of it is sound. The problem was what you could invest it into was not so great. They gave you this limited option of what Wall Street sells you. And that's what's shifting here is what you can invest into. And that's the big shift of what Trump's doing with his executive order is saying, let's stop giving people this teeny little menu. There's an important stat out there on publicly traded companies. I got it right here. Like the amount of publicly traded companies has like dropped dramatically. Companies that have 100 million or more in revenue is like 13% of them are publicly traded, right?
Wow.
87% are privately held, right? And because companies don't want to go public anymore.
Yeah. And I
So
see
who
all the
owns
time
them?
these funds that are like, they advertise on like the Morning Brew and other places, but they're like, hey, we're not a public company, but you can invest in this particular company.
Right.
Well, I guess now you can. So yeah, let's walk through what did Trump say here? Like what exactly is Trump allowing us
Yeah.
to do now under this
Yeah.
executive order? And maybe we'll see some further moves in Congress, by the way.
Yeah. Let me share the screen for a second because this is like the executive order, specifically the language here. So this is the policy statement in the executive order. This is like the critical point because this is like, then it's all like how we get there, but this is the policy statement. It is the policy of the United States that every American preparing for retirement should have access to funds that include investments in alternative assets. Let's unshare that. Like that is like massive right there. That is a huge change. Prior thought was when people have their 401k or any retirement account here, let's just let them buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, what's publicly traded on Wall Street. These alternative assets, and I'm going to define what those are here, we're always like high net worth, the wealthy can invest into it. And this is like, like you talk about like the private companies that are owned by private equity funds. Well, what if I want to invest in the private equity fund that owns 87% of the companies out there that are over 100 million in revenue now? Well, you can't do that in your 401k, which is where most people have a lot of their long-term investable dollars. And so it's kind of like out of whack. So let me tell you what's a alternative asset though. Okay. Some of this makes sense. Some of it's kind of confusing, frankly, to me. Real estate. I don't know that real estate's that alternative, right? I mean, it's pretty
Right.
tried and true. It's probably made more millionaires in this country than anything else. But they say direct and indirect interest in real estate, including debt instruments on real estate, which could be loans to real estate. So if your retirement plan's playing the bank, or you could own real estate or invest in a fund that's private that owns other real estate. Private market investments in equity or debt. This is basically private equity funds. So I want to invest in a private company or a private equity fund that owns private companies. And then they said holdings in investment vehicles investing in digital assets. That's crypto. And so now
Right.
we're opening up avenues to own crypto with your 401k. So there's some other things mentioned there, but those are really the three big ones: real estate, private companies through private equity funds, essentially, and digital assets, crypto.
We've been working with a company for many, many years called Connect Invest. And if our audience, they know it very well, but it allows you to invest in real estate short notes. You can just like with like $500, the whole thing. If they go to our website, redacted.inc/invest, they can learn more about all of that. But anyway, what's incredible is that now they could conceivably under this Trump plan use their 401k to start investing in real estate short notes or actual physical real estate or crypto or all of these other vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the big shift here. And it's crazy because retirement accounts could actually already do this. Even like your 401k can already do this. Like if you read just the tax code or ERISA, which has rules governing retirement accounts, what happened was the machinery for retirement accounts and really the DOL and the SEC jacked it all up by putting all these roadblocks in. So any provider of retirement accounts, say your typical 401k, was like, oh my gosh, the DOL and the SEC have made this impossible to do it. Like Congress's laws when they created retirement accounts actually said you could own any type of asset except for certain small little restrictive things, but you could already own real estate in your retirement account, your IRA or 401k. You could already own a private company. The problem was the machinery, the administrative, burdens really from DOL and SEC made any 401k provider say, we're not letting you do it because all these liability issues, and the DOL basically says if we screw it up, you can sue the company or the person providing the plan. So they just made you go to Wall Street to buy a stock, bond, mutual fund. So that's what this executive order is doing. And what Trump said in the executive order, the next piece was he directed the DOL and the SEC to kind of tear back these restrictions and make it easier for people to do it. So that's kind of the phase of where we're in right now, is peeling back all these restrictions in the 401k that were really administrative in nature to open up the door for whatever investment assets you want. Now, you can still go buy a stock, bond, or mutual fund, but it'd be nice to have some other options of what you could invest into, right? Let us decide what to invest into. Why give us a small menu of things out there? So I think that's going to take a while, quite honestly, in your 401k. So if you're thinking like your 401k right now, like today, and you're like, all right, Matt, I want to go invest in a real estate deal or short notes, or I want to buy crypto or precious metals or, something that I've never thought I could buy in my retirement account. Well, in your 401k right now, this is going to take a while. You get the SEC and DOL got to go through this. They got to come back and report. But Trump set the policy. This executive order is in effect. They've all got their marching orders. The nice thing is this is happening early in the Trump administration, so we will have enough time to see meaningful change and organizations to incorporate that. But I will say, Clayton, like right now, because a lot of people are like, well, Matt, I never even thought about owning real estate in a retirement account. Right. Or precious metals or a private company, like
it's at the heart of everything that Natalie and I do. We own precious metals, we own real estate in our self-directed IRA, and people can do this right now. They don't have to wait for the 401k to make this shift, right?
Yeah. And that's like what we've been doing for years with IRAs. We've worked with you. I mean, I've done this with my own retirement account. We have $3 billion in assets of clients we've done. I wrote a book about this. This is kind of my niche, of course. So, is like IRAs are much simpler. So like right now, again, you're listening now and you're like, well, actually, I've got money in an IRA or an old employer 401k. I could move to an IRA. I want to buy precious metals, right? I'd rather do a real estate deal. Like I believe in that asset, crypto, whatever it might be. I believe in that asset more than I believe in the mutual fund that I'm currently in, or right. Whatever it might be that you're currently invested in. Because the failure of the retirement account is not like the structure of the retirement account, the tax benefits you get out of it, the long-term wealth building, the asset protection, like all these benefits out of it. It's the poor investment returns. Like that's been the problem, Right. And so if I can get a better return.
I mean, like you think about like Connect Invest, which I was just talking about. I mean, they have you can get a 9% return, 9% for investing as little as $500 on real estate short notes. And most Americans will never get that because they've been bamboozled into like following this like 401k Wall Street plan, which enriches Wall Street and doesn't enrich our viewers. It's infuriating.
Right. Yeah, there's so many fees built up into those, structures on Wall Street, of course. And so, they're like, well, we've like minimized the risk. Yeah, well, you took all the upside out of it. They bundle all these assets together and sell it to you. And so they're like, well, your risk is very low. Well, the stock market drops all the time. Like,
Right.
So there's definitely risk there, but they kill the return, the profile of it.
Yeah.
So by being a little more in control of your retirement, we say take control of your retirement by investing in assets you know and believe in. And this could be a single family rental. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what it is. And I'm not here to tell you what it is. I just want you to have a choice and say of what you believe in to invest in it. And so that's what we do every day at Directed IRA right now. So, or whoever you're working with, just know like today, if you're like, man, I'd rather grow and build wealth in my retirement account in assets I believe in, you can do that today. I'm just saying, like, you could take action right now to go do that. The 401k and what Trump's working on, which could be your employer 401k where you're working, or your business if you own a business, like that 401k is going to take probably a year to 2 years before you see meaningful
Big
change of what
change.
you can invest in.
Yeah, I bet. Because like, if I used to have a Fidelity 401k back when I worked at Fox News, and I would log in there and I could only choose from stocks. And I remember
Yeah.
calling them and I said, hey, I want to invest in real estate. Can I use my 401k to invest in real estate? And they said, no. They said, well, you can invest in like a real estate stock. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to own actual real estate. I want to own precious metals. I want to be able to buy rental properties. I want to be able to, no, you can't do that until you close your 401k and you leave your job. And then I transferred it over to you guys. And, we set up a self-directed account. We move everything over. So I want to say to our audience, been working with Matt for many, many years. That's why I wanted to have him on. No one knows this better than him and his company. If you go to my website, if you go to redacted.inc, there's a big resources tab right at the top. It's not for everyone. Like if you're not interested in building wealth with your family or anything like that, then, it's not for you. But if you want to know how to do this, then just click on that resources tab and then scroll down and you'll see a big section for Matt's company for Directed IRA, because we believe in them. I've been working with him. We've been working with him for years. So just click on that little button and like book a call with Matt's team at Directed IRA. And can you just give our audience like a brief overview of like if someone calls you guys to like set up a self-directed IRA, what does that look like? What does that phone call look like?
Yeah. So basically, we want to understand what retirement account dollars you might have. Most people that are doing this are like, well, I've already got, this IRA over at TD Ameritrade, or I got the old employer 401k like you had at Fidelity. And maybe I want to move the whole thing, or I want to move a piece of it to go invest in real estate or crypto or precious metals or a private company, whatever you're into. I mean, we've had clients buy so many different investments, and it's actually very fun. It never ceases to amaze me what people are investing into and actually making money on. So, so whatever your investment is, we basically help you move those account dollars. Let's say it's from Fidelity, and I got a slide here. Let's show that just so you can see kind of like. Because like if you call Fidelity, just like you said, Clayton, they're like, well, you can't buy real estate here. You can buy a real estate stock. That's the same thing if you're at TD Ameritrade or your local bank or credit union. You need a self-directed IRA or a provider of IRAs that says, hey, I'm not a broker dealer. I'm not selling you investments. We're just a custodian. We are open architecture. Invest in whatever you want that's allowed by law. And so we're, a regulated custodian. We're audited, examined by the banking department, all that type of stuff. But when you have an account with us, we open it and transfer over that money. You can unshare that. And now your retirement account the investment is real estate, let's say. Okay. And like you buy the rental property. Okay. The rent check comes into the IRA. When you sell the property, the gain goes into the IRA. There's no tax on it. The IRA pays the expenses on the property. If it was like short notes, let's say, your IRA lends the money. Essentially, it's going to get the interest and principal payments back. It's growing the account, right? The return and that investment is growing the account balance. And then you keep investing it. Like the thing with retirement accounts, it's long-term wealth building. I'm 45. I'm not looking at this thing to help me next year, right? I'm looking at this thing to help me when I'm 59 and a half. And
Right.
so, but we want to get better returns, compound it, and grow it. So that's what the self-directed IRA is. And there's 20 companies that do what we do. We happen to be the best at it, but you're not going to do it at the broker dealer. And that's where 99% of people's accounts are. They're at a broker dealer that restricts what they can invest into, not because of the law, just because of their business. So you just need to move to the self-directed account. And our team helps with that. We open up the account type. We help move your funds over. It's not taxable. It's not, there's no distribution or penalty or taxes. It's like you went from Morgan Stanley to Merrill Lynch, from Schwab to Fidelity. You're just changing the provider of the account. And again, it could be the whole thing or a partial amount. So that's what it looks like. You just need to get to a self-directed provider that'll let you have open investment options.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It was a game changer for me, I will say, moving that money out of my Fidelity account after I left Fox and be able to roll it over into a self-directed. It opened up the world for me to be able to buy precious metals, invest in real estate, buy real estate short notes. And by the way, you're also able to lend the money out. Like, it's a whole other world that people just don't know about because Wall Street doesn't want you to know about it. They do not want you to learn this because now they are out of the loop. And they are not making money. And this is why it's so frustrating. This is why you never hear about it. Because so many people watching this right now are going to say, wait a minute, how did I never hear about this? Well, because you're not going to see a television commercial from Fidelity that's like, follow the green line to retirement. It's going to show like a happy old couple like following a green line into a bank and meeting with Fidelity advisors and all of this. Because there's nobody advertising it on television in order to drag you in and collect all of these fees, right?
Exactly. And that's just not how they're built to make money, right? Their goal is to provide a service that they make money off of, and we've just built differently in that we want you to take control of what you invest in. We have an account fee, an annual account fee, but I'm not taking a percentage of your deal or an assets under management fee. We just have a flat annual type fee. But it's interesting, Ray Dalio, right? This guy was like Bridgewater Associates, one of the biggest hedge funds in the world, guy buying stocks all day long. Just last week was getting interviewed and he was talking about the debt crisis in America. And what was his recommendation basically of what to buy? Like, this guy was the most Wall Street of Wall Street. Like, every trader, hedge fund looked up to what this guy was saying. He was not saying buy more stocks. He said buy crypto and gold, precious metals. He said you need to start allocating to those assets, which was crazy for a guy that was like such a stock Wall Street hedge fund guy that everyone else looked up to. Where do a lot of Americans have their money?
Gold is now at an all-time high. Just hit a new all-time high last week. Silver is nearing its all-time high. It's at a 15-year high for silver. Crypto, I mean, God, look at what Bitcoin is doing, for crying out loud. $112,000, I think, as of this morning for Bitcoin. Like, okay. So he's basically saying the stock market's overvalued. Debt is going to be weighing it down. And you want to be in these deflationary, these other assets to protect against it. And so I thought it was interesting because those are assets I was not expecting him to say. But also if you're like the takeaway for someone that believes in like his, position and what his thought process there was like, a lot of people, Americans are like, well, my money's all in an IRA, so I can't do that. Like, I think that's a lot of people, they hear that and they're like, well, that's not for me, No, it is. You can do that right now with an IRA. That's what I'm trying to tell people. So, and we'll see what's going to happen with the 401k as that gains steam. And I'll be updating you guys here, of course, to Clayton on the changes, because DOL and SEC I think they had 90 to 120 days to come back on the executive order to kind of with their proposals to like clear the way for these assets in your 401k. Oh, great. Well, Matt Sorensen has been my guest. Again, go to my website, go to redacted.inc, and right at the top, it's not .com, it's redacted.inc. Right at the top, there's a big resources tab. And then when you click on the resources tab, you'll see our trusted partners. And I should point out, Matt is not sponsoring the show, this episode. He's a good friend, and I trust his advice implicitly. And I've been working with Matt for years. So when we wanted to do this interview for a while now after Trump's executive order, because I think it's very, very important. So Matt is a trusted partner, and his team at Directed IRA are trusted partners. So just scroll down on the page and you'll see the Directed IRA section there. You can learn more about it. Like, click that red button and connect with Matt's team. They do a phenomenal job, and I want to help out our audience. I don't want you guys stuck in these 401k plans just investing in stocks on Wall Street. There's a whole other world out there. And with inflation right now, most people's retirement accounts are not even keeping up with inflation. So how do you beat that? It's with these alternative assets, right, Matt? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's just the time for you to take control and feel some responsibility, but also like the ability to do something about it. I think that's been the problem is it's like, this is the retirement account I'm either looking forward to it or that I'm dreading getting to. And I want people to just feel more empowered about, I have some investment options. I can take control. That's part of the American dream, is like having control of your own destiny. And being in those Wall Street products, you don't have that. You get a menu, you get the destiny and the options they give you. But if you get over here, I got a whole bigger menu of options now, other assets I might know and believe in that can get me a better return and a better retirement account that I'm looking forward to.
What I'm most excited about with this interview, because you're going to have maybe 20% of the people watching, maybe more, will say, "Oh, I knew all about self-directed IRAs. Yeah, thank you for this, but I already knew this." But there's going to be a lot of people that watch this for the first time that are going to be like, "I had no idea that a self-directed IRA even existed, and that I could even do that." Because when I first learned it, I was in my mid-30s, and by the time I was working at Fox News, I was a news anchor at Fox News, and I learned it while I was there. Like I didn't know it beforehand. So, it's not something that's common knowledge for people. So let me know in the comments below if you're watching this video right now, like how many of you are just learning that you can even use a self-directed IRA, and be humble about it. You don't have to like puff up your chest. Yeah, I knew all about this. No, be honest. Well, be honest, because I didn't know about it till I was in my 30s.
I didn't know about it until I was an attorney for 2 years, and a client stumped me with it and wanted to buy real estate with his IRA. And I'm like, I don't think you can do that. And he was like, I'm pretty sure I can. And I was like, I don't think you can. And I had to like look it up and come back with a little bit of humility and be like, so you know more than I do. But then it,
and
like,
now you
opened
run
the
a
door
whole
for me.
company that does it. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And now you're the best at it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I wrote the book on it. And I just, cause I thought it was fascinating. I mean, quite honestly, I wanted him to be right. I just thought he was wrong,
Yeah.
And so yeah, but it is still to this day. I mean, that was almost 20 years ago. It's crazy. It's been so long, but it's still, most people have no idea you could even do this. And so, and it may not be for everybody, but there's a lot more people that know about it than are currently doing it. So, so thanks for having me on, of course, to talk about this. And, let us know if we can be of help to you. And we have tons of resources and free resources, to learn more about it and get educated too.
Matt Sorensen from Directed IRA. Great to see you, Matt. Great to connect with you again.
Same. Thanks, Clayton. My pleasure.